Well, breaking overnight, a man who allegedly shot 6 police officers in Philadelphia now in custody. Good morning from the Alert Center. I'm Michael Gorsegner here with Ashley Honey. And Ashley, news conference just wrapped up in Philadelphia with the police commissioner. A bunch of new details. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Philadelphia Police Commissioner Richard Ross releasing a lot of new information for us this morning about the suspect and about what took place during those hours of negotiation. He said that Maurice Hill's 10-year-long attorney actually came in to help with negotiations, trying to convince Maurice to come out of the house. And in that time, the commissioner said that Hill was talking about his daughters. Apparently he has a newborn. He was trying to, reason with them why he even had a reason to live and to come out of the house. The commissioner also said that we're hearing reports this morning there could be a second gunman involved. He didn't elaborate on exactly what weapon was used to shoot at the 6 officers who we know were injured, but he did say that Hill had a gun on his person and that a SWAT team in preliminary investigations saw a longer gun inside the apartment when they went in. They were only finally able to get Hill out of the house once they'd rescued those other civilians and officers that were trapped inside using tear gas. And so they haven't really completed the investigation this morning, and they're waiting a little bit more time to go in because of that tear gas that's lingering and can be very dangerous to those officers. So it's a lot of information that we're learning this morning. Of course, it's still a very active situation. We actually have video in from overnight of the suspect, Maurice Hill, surrendering. Again, he's accused of shooting 6 officers. 2 officers, along with those 3 other civilians that I mentioned, had been trapped in the home, but luckily were safely evacuated. The best news is no lives were lost.
And so it is nothing short of astounding that in such a confined space that we didn't have more of a tragedy than we did. So we're so thankful that they were able to get out. We were able to get the other folks out.
So, of course, we know that Maurice Hill was not injured in the incident, and we're still hoping to learn more about him this morning. The commissioner elaborating that it was a very dynamic situation, that they were there to serve a drug warrant, but it's not really clear at this point exactly why Hill chose to open fire on those officers.
Apparently over a dozen officers also opening fire back at him at certain points. We've seen video we're about to see of some dramatic gunshots all throughout the area. Certainly a very, very scary situation. Thankfully, no one killed during last night's shootout. In fact, all 6 officers shot have already been able to go home from the hospital. Lines of saluting officers could be seen outside the hospital last night. One of the injured officers seemed to have had bandages on his arm, another bandages on the head.
And Mike, I wanted to mention that we're also getting reports this morning that there was a sharpshooter that was brought in who actually fired 10 rounds at Maurice Hill. Missing, of course, Hill was uninjured, but that Hill actually did strike that sharpshooter, and the sharpshooter was the 6th officer who was injured. But, it was a peaceful way to end the night as Hill was brought out earlier the evening. Anything but peaceful. And this morning we're getting a glimpse of just what it was like when all of that chaos began.
Car stand by, 3700 North 15th Street, shots fired at police. Shots fired at police inside the property. Inside the property.
Oh, terror in those voices, those 911 calls coming in as the shooter began firing at police. Some of the officers were able to escape, but 2 officers, and like we told you, those 3 civilians were held hostage for a short period of time. This morning, we're also getting another perspective of that chaotic situation from people who were nearby when the shots rang out.
Yeah, cell phone video capturing the moments. Everyone was trying to figure out what exactly was going on. Just pure chaos. As you can hear there, multiple gunshots along with a woman screaming about kids being in the house. Several eyewitnesses speaking out about what unfolded.
One of the cops was running past. He had blood all on his head. I think he might have got hit in his head. Yeah, I heard the gunshots and all. I heard the gunshots when it first. That's why I came outside, because I heard gunshots. We thought it was like firecrackers or something.
It's a bunch of gunshots. Like, it shouldn't be kids, too many kids playing around in these streets. People gotta think before they do stuff, man. It's just a lot going on.
And as we told you, what we just heard from the Philadelphia police commissioner, they're still in the very early stages of this investigation, Mike, because they had to use that tear gas. They had to deploy it to get Maurice Hill out of the house at the very end of the night after 8 hours of standoff. So they're still waiting for that tear gas to clear up before they're finally able to go in and investigate the scene further.
Yeah, certainly a lot of new details going to be coming out in the next hours and days to come. Well, the shooting coming just one day before Governor Tom Wolf is scheduled to sign an executive order to reduce gun violence. Late last night, the governor announcing he will be postponing today's event out of respect for the injured officers. So, of course, we'll continue to follow this and the latest on the investigation. Ashley's following it here in the Alert Center. Steve, for now, let's get a first check of your weather.
Well, clouds here this morning, and it's really humid. We are dry. Had a couple of light sprinkles overnight, but won't need that umbrella, at least stepping outside this morning. Have had a little bit of patchy fog form, especially in Lancaster. You can see we're down to just a mile of visibility there, and that's kind of extending over toward Chester and Berks counties. But there you go. It is a quiet start here on First Warning Radar, but during the afternoon, just like yesterday, we're going to have to watch out for some hit or miss showers, pop-up thunderstorms, nothing that looks severe. I don't think we're talking about any gusty winds, nothing along those lines, but we could get into some isolated downpours. So only in the mid-80s today, which isn't all that bad, but you factor in the humidity and it's going to be feeling a lot warmer than that, more like upper 80s to around 90. So cranking the AC again today with those pop-up afternoon showers and storms and a high of 84.
Well, overnight Asian stock markets following Wall Street with a plunge. The Dow dropping more than 800 points yesterday. And while U.S. investors are waking up with a bit of pit in their stomach, late night comedians, well, they're having a little bit of fun with it.
When reached for comment, the market said this. Experts advise that worried investors drink a whiskey drink, then a vodka drink, then a lager drink, then a cider drink.
You're welcome, by the way. That song now going to be stuck in your head for the rest of your Thursday. And while that might seem funny, many say we won't be laughing if this leads to another recession. John Lawrence has more about the red flags.
Some financial analysts fear a recession is looming.
I think we are at the end of 10 years of easy money.
Most dangerous moment in terms of recession since the 2008 financial crisis.
Part of the concern comes from outside of the U.S. China and Germany both issued disappointing data this week, and banks in India, New Zealand, and Thailand slashed rates greater than expected due to trade fears.
If we're not in recession globally, we're pretty close, and it's going to weigh on us here.
The U.S. economy has seen record economic growth and a strong job market, but some say President Trump's trade war with China could cause a slowdown.
If the president can't figure out a way to find some kind of face-saving arrangement with China pretty soon, we will be in recession.
The president decided to delay tariffs against Beijing until December, and Wednesday he tweeted that China wants to make a deal. In the meantime, Americans are keeping a close watch on their wallets.
U.S. consumers who've been pretty robust are actually starting to look a little weaker, cutting back credit card balances, scaling back on purchasing gasoline in the middle of a holiday vacation season. So there's all kinds of things that have been leading up to this.
John Lawrence, CBS 21 News This Morning.
Well, happening today, a foreign contingent will be getting a look at how a federal workforce program works, courtesy of a York County farm. Officials from Guatemala, along with the USDA, are set to tour Strathmire Tree Farms in York County, according to its owner. It's all to tout the H-2A program, a federal government initiative which supplies legal migrant workers for United States farmers. This comes as the immigration debate rages on in Washington, D.C. Leaders will see how the program helps apple pickers in Adams County first before touring Strathmire around 1:30 this afternoon. Well, arrested for product tampering. The person police in our area have taken into custody and where he may have actually messed with some of those items. Plus, a company closing, leaving hundreds of clients without thousands of dollars. Why officials say it had to be shut down and when clients can expect to get their bucks back. Steve?
Well, it's been a warm, steamy week thus far, and is it going to get even hotter from here? We'll give the old weather magic 8-ball a shake, and yeah, without a doubt. I'm going to let you know when our temperatures are going to get back into the 90s with my First Warning forecast. Well, we'll see some pop-up showers or an isolated storm developing later on this afternoon. Very hit or miss. Don't cancel your outdoor plans, but be prepared once again today to have to dodge that shower or storm. Now, temperature-wise today, mid-80s. Humidity, of course, going to make it feel a little bit warmer than that, but look what happens here heading into the weekend. Upper 80s on Saturday, and I think we're back into the 90s on both Sunday and Monday. So 84 today, that pop-up storm. We're going to have to keep those storm chances in the forecast and heating up again as we head toward the weekend.
No problems for us right now in Lancaster. Our roads are moving smoothly along on Route 30, taking your way over towards York this morning. Same goes for 283 if you're going to be making your way up towards the Capitol Beltway or the PA Turnpike area. No problems for us. Speaking of the Beltway, on 81 or 83, everything there is moving just smoothly along. Same goes for those inner-city Lancaster roads. This traffic report is brought to you by the all-new Turner Chevrolet in Harrisburg.
All right, thank you, Ashley. Police in Cumberland County have filed charges against a man accused of tampering with store-bought products. Robert Burns was arrested yesterday evening. According to Silver Spring Township Police, nearly 100 tampered products were found inside of his home. They included things like toothpaste and eye cream. Police believe Burns bought the items and returned them to several stores in the area, such as Giant and Wegmans. Now, authorities are asking the public to double-check their products.
Just look at the products, and if you think something should be reported, report it, and we'll go from there.
It's not yet known how the products were tampered with. They have been sent for forensic testing. Hundreds of clients say they've lost thousands of dollars after a local property management company abruptly closes its doors. Lehman Property announcing it was closing last month and told clients it would no longer take care of their properties. The company managed more than 300 places across central PA. And now a Facebook page for property owners claims the company owes them money for rent deposits and incidentals.
Since then, we've kind of asked questions of, hey, what's going to happen with the money that they were holding? And really, it's just we're not really getting any clear answers.
Lehman Property says it closed after finding out that there is an issue with its accounting and that an internal audit needs to be done before the money can be returned to property owners. Well, snow might not mean a day off for students anymore. Sorry about that, guys. How a new state law is allowing schools to be more flexible in the pros and cons of the program. Well, our Before the Bell series continues this morning with more on the new approach Pennsylvania is taking for snow days.
Yeah, for this coming school year, thanks to a new state law, kids can work from home even when the weather outside turns a bit frightful.
It's summertime, and for these blissful, carefree months, students are thinking about anything but winter, snow, or snow days. But the state legislature has been thinking winter with a new law that could turn traditional snow days into what are called flexible instruction days.
According to my read on the bill that was signed into law by the governor, the Department of Education has 30 days to provide districts guidance on the process and the guidelines for being approved.
Under this new program, districts that get approval from the State Board of Education would distribute lesson plans on flex days. Students would then use the internet to conduct what would resemble a normal school day, only at home and with some flexibility.
I'm appreciative that we have this added flexibility, and I look forward to being able to implement this and have it at least as a tool in our toolbox.
For its part, the West Shore School District has expanded its program of distributing Chromebooks to all students in grades 9 through 12 with a long-range goal of distributing them to even younger students throughout the district.
Of course, the question is, how excited will students be to turn in one of these for one of these?
Nobody wants to miss a snow day, but if it means not adding a day on the end of the year, I think we can all get used to it.
But what about those students that don't have home access to the internet?
We are making sure that families, it's a point of contact to ask what access they do have at home, as well as then providing them resources.
The key word in all of this is flexibility, allowing districts that participate the chance to avoid delaying the end of the school year in June.
Well, the new law caps the school's flexible instruction days at 5 a year, and any district that participates must show the State Department of Education how it will record attendance. Kind of hard to think about the snow days
right
here,
now.
as warm and as muggy as it is here this week. But It won't be all that long. Of course, we'll be thinking about it. And it is one thing, it'll kind of help the school calendar stay intact.
Put. Yep,
and you were saying that you have some experience with it.
Yeah, Central York, where my kids go, has been part of the pilot program.
Sure.
They had 10 school districts throughout the state that piloted it over 3 years, and they had some success with it. I think they used all 5 last year, and it just gives flexibility to be able to have the kids work a little bit from home. It doesn't take the whole day.
Right.
I mean, it's not like the kids are going to be wrapped up in 7 hours of work inside,
exactly.
but it does. It keeps the learning going, allows a little bit of flexibility for the calendar.
It was still some time to go outside and build that snowman.
Yes,
too,
indeed.
so.
It's plus, I'm kicking my kids out the door during snow days. Get outside, play in the
Get
snow.
outside and play. All
right. When I was a kid.
My kids are a little older. I tell them to get outside and shovel the sidewalk. We've got anything but snow out there this morning. It's foggy. It's humid. We've got visibility down to less than a half mile now in Lancaster. So there are some pockets of fog here this morning. Thankfully, it's not really widespread, but just want you to be aware as you step outside. Let's talk temperature here for a minute, because August has been a warm month. All of these days that you see here in orange are days where our average high temperature got up above average. So there you go. We've got a warm month, and our high temperature departure for the month so far is nearly 4 degrees. So that's 12 out of 14 days where we've been above average for our high temperature. And that trend is set to continue. In fact, I'll call your attention to what we're looking at here Sunday and Monday. I think we're looking at highs getting into the low 90s. And then a lot of kids heading back to school next week. It looks like it's going to be a warm, muggy week with temperatures in the upper 80s and a lot of humidity. A quiet start here on First Warning Radar. Had just a couple of kind of sprinkles overnight due to the fact that we've got so much moisture in the atmosphere. That's our next weather maker, this stationary front that stalls out, delivering those chances for hit or miss showers and storms today, tomorrow, even the course of the weekend and into early next week. We can't rule out these pop-up afternoon showers. So check it out here on Future Radar. Very hit or miss later on today. Difficult to pinpoint who exactly will see some of these pop-up showers, but not difficult to pinpoint the timing. Typical stuff. Late afternoon, early evening. Same deal tomorrow as we look out for scattered shower or storm. Now, yesterday at the Perry County Fair, they got into some rain there during the late afternoon. Other areas stayed completely dry yesterday. So that's what we mean by these hit or miss showers and storms. And then a hot weekend heading back into the 90s, as I showed you, particularly on Sunday afternoon. Dew point, that's that measure of moisture in the air. When they start to get towards 70, that's when it feels really muggy, if not downright oppressive. And that's going to be the case today, tomorrow afternoon. Dew points aren't going anywhere. It's going to remain very soupy, very sultry for us the next few days and into the weekend. 84 high temperature for today, but thanks to the humidity, of course, it'll feel a little bit warmer than that with temperatures, or feels like temperatures, in the upper 80s. 68 overnight tonight. Just don't cool off all that much overnight. In fact, a lot of days coming up, that overnight low is going to hover in the low 70s. So warm weekend with hit or miss afternoon showers and storms, and that pattern will continue well into next week.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Knight. Chaos in the city of brotherly love. The person accused of shooting 6 police officers during a standoff yesterday, and what the mayor of Philadelphia is calling for in the wake of the tragedy. Plus, this.
Hello to you, I'm Gail King. Coming right up, we're going to introduce you to a group of friends using flowers to brighten their hometowns. It's all part of our series that we call A More Perfect Union. That's coming right up on CBS This Morning.
You're watching CBS 21 News This Morning.
Here's a final check of our top stories. Police have identified the alleged gunman who caused an hours-long standoff with officers in the city of Philadelphia. 36-year-old Maurice Hill was taken into custody overnight. Officers were searching a narcotics warrant at a home yesterday afternoon when Hill allegedly opened fire. 6 officers hurt in all in the shootout. Now the city's mayor is calling for gun reform legislation, saying this could have been prevented because Hill had a criminal history.
Whether it's our 6 officers who were shot, or it's some 15, 17, 20-year-old kid on the streets of Philadelphia who gets shot with guns that shouldn't be in people's hands. And it's aggravating, it's saddening, and it's just something that we need to do something about.
All of the 6 officers hurt have been released from the hospital. Out of respect for those officers, Governor Tom Wolf is delaying his plans to sign an executive order on gun violence. The order, aimed at reducing violence in the Commonwealth, was supposed to be signed today. A new date has not yet been set. Well, Commonwealth flags are flying at half-staff this morning in honor of a fallen Adams County firefighter. Assistant Chief Walter Wagaman died Tuesday, several days after being injured while on duty. He responded to a crash on August 2nd when he was suddenly ejected from the fire truck. An autopsy is scheduled for today. He'll be laid to rest in Gettysburg on Sunday. After the stock market sees another bad day, financial experts are worrying the country is heading towards a possible recession. Yesterday, the Dow closing 800 points down. It was the biggest one-day drop of the year. Analysts say this could be because of bonds. Normally, investors earn higher interests on long-term bonds than that of short-term ones, but that wasn't the case yesterday.
Last time this happened was all the way back in 2007, and that was right before the Great Recession. So people are wondering, is this going to happen again? Are we going to see another recession?
Global factors are also playing a role. China, Japan, and Germany all reporting a decrease in economic growth. Former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper plans to announce the end of his bid for presidency today. The former Denver mayor serving as the state's governor until earlier this year. The 67-year-old says instead of going to the White House, he's considering a Senate bid.
Well, warm and muggy. We're dry out there, but we've got a lot of cloud cover, and with that, it's a little bit foggy in a few spots. Lancaster, we've got less than a half mile of visibility there. Other spots doing a little bit better. Just watch for it. It's a little bit patchy here as we step out the door this morning. During the afternoon hours, yet again, an isolated shower or thunderstorm. The biggest thing we could see is a quick downpour in some spots. And that could lead to some isolated areas of flash flooding or ponding on roads, that type of thing. And AC here, chance of seeing that rain later on today does increase during the late afternoon and early evening hours. So very hit or miss shower storms. Don't cancel anything you got going on outside, but just be prepared to dodge those showers and storms. Mid-80s here today, tomorrow, and then we really start to heat things up. You'll notice it big time over the weekend. Hot and humid into the 90s on Sunday and Monday.
Getting a quick peek this morning of how things are moving fairly well for us around the Capitol Beltway. No issues right now on the PA Turnpike, 83, 81, all doing well. Our river routes look good too. No issues for us near the York Split or the Eisenhower interchange. This traffic report is brought to you by the all-new Turner Chevrolet in Harrisburg.
We're going to continue to follow this developing situation in Philadelphia and have the latest also on CBS This Morning, which is coming up next. We're going to leave you with a live look into Studio 57. We hope you have yourself a fantastic Thursday.